already.
So that's been the whole of this.
I'll just type.
That's true, yeah. It's harder to do that. It's fast.
Yeah, that's true. But I know, I work in this, so I don't always step there to talk to my
Okay, so guys, I'm recording everything again. So if you need to go back and you need to re-listen or somebody's missing or whatever, you can go back and listen to the recording or watch what we're doing up there. So anyway, so cool. We finally got to the case details. So I think it's kind of fun. So it should be, I think it's going to be kind of interesting. They give us a lot of cool data as well to analyze, which I think would be good. So I thought what we'd do first is let's just kind of talk through how we're going to strategically tackle these things over the next X number of weeks. And then I'm going to pop up my calendar and we're going to set 5 more dates where we're going to get together to kind of work through these things. Realizing not all of you guys are going to be able to make every single one, but as long as you got people on your team kind of covering it, you know, we should be fine for the most part. So that's kind of what we'll do first, and then I'll let Rhonda pop up, just kind of lead the discussion on kind of what you guys did with that homework exercise, which, you know, is really kind of meant to just kind of get you kind of into the mode of all this sort of stuff. So, which I think is going to be, and it's going to be good. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so I don't know if you guys got the digital copy handy or whatever. I just got my hard copy. So, you know, when you look at the case requirements here, they give us all sort of background on kind of what they consider the competitors. So that kind of helps a lot. They also give us what the market share is, what the full category percent is, and what percent of that category we have. So again, a lot of that data is kind of there, which is kind of good for giving us. You know, I think when we start talking about promotion and strategy, you know, we're going to have to get into like maybe some Pew research, things along those lines. So we'll be looking, well, but again, Pew basically is talking about teenagers. So again, and kids, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was thinking more along the lines of what, you know, they are getting because you're good data.
Well, I was thinking more from, again, because keep in mind, they really want their target to remain that, what, the 18 to
20. They want 18 to
24, 18 to 24 year olds. So I think we just kind of need to understand the lifestyle a little bit and why they're losing that market share. And what is it, let's say, that Red Bull's doing to capture that market share, for example. So I was looking at it more from the demographic sort of assessment of the audience. So I think you were looking at it from a slightly different perspective.
Right, but when you bring up Red Bull, they're like in a completely different.
They are, yeah, absolutely. So again, they're after the extreme sports side, yeah, definitely. So, you know, we've got, the first thing here is like products, so potential areas of shape, sizing, bundles, containers, packaging, flavors, vitamin combinations. So again, they gave us a lot of data on that, correct? They gave us sales data kind of broken out by the size of the bottle, the different types, the Revive and the Vitality and the vitamin C and the Triple X and things along those lines. So I think, so what we're gonna basically do, guys, is probably the next time we meet, which we'll set up that next class meeting, which I think I want it to be not next Tuesday, but Tuesday after, is I'm gonna have each of we've got a total of 4 groups, right, including the MBA group. So you guys as a group are gonna come back each as your recommendations on products. And you're each gonna present. And then as a bigger group, we're going to decide what is the right strategy to take. So, and I think that's going to be kind of cool because we'll have all different perspectives and you guys might have each seen something in the data, something different than a different team didn't see. And then we'll kind of talk about strategy as a group and then we'll kind of decide kind of what we want to do. Yeah.
So we're going to go over this data today though and actually kind of talk about what's going on first though, right?
Well, we can, to make sure you guys understand what's there. Or,
yeah, because like some of this data is really confusing.
Okay,
and like their argument they make in the front is really really off. So
okay,
I'm just not understanding it.
Okay, all right. And don't forget, I also sent you that one article so you guys can understand the CDI and the BDI sort of index as well, and kind of understand how that kind of breaks down. So yeah. So we can kind of go and take a look at it. Yeah, and it does get a little confusing. What are the percentages of, and stuff along those lines. So that's kind of the first thing we'll do. And kind of work it through that way. Does that make sense? And then we're gonna get into the channels. And again, I think Rhonda was gonna just talk with you guys a little bit about channels, because I think you threw out a few questions to them about channels as well, right, in the homework. And,
Well, there was a little bit of discussion on channel.
right,
Yeah, I
okay.
just want to make sure everybody understands what channel is.
Right, yeah, okay. So again, they give us that breakdown, Walmart, grocery store, drugstore, all of that sort of stuff. So again, we can see where the sales are coming from. And then also they give us the regional data as well. So again, we'll do the same sort of thing. So as teams, you guys will assess that data and make recommendations about the channel mix, things along those lines, and we'll come together as a group and kind of decide what's the data telling us and what's the best strategy to go forward. Then we get into the promotion side of it, and again, this is where, again, some of the work I think the MBA team kind of already did, kind of what's kind of going on social. We're gonna kind of need to bring in traditional as well and kind of understand what they're doing now, social, traditional, all that sort of stuff, as well as the competitors. And so we're gonna have a lot of data kind of pulled together, which I think the MBA team is gonna be able to help you guys get a lot of that data together. And then again, make assessments, come back, guys make recommendations, and then we'll kind of talk about promotion, what's the best way to do it. And the same thing with pricing strategy. And then once we have that done, then it's really kind of getting everything kind of pulled together. We're gonna have to figure out who on the team has some artistic abilities. Hopefully, yes. Does anybody here have artistic abilities? Yeah. Okay, and with what sort of tools or?
Use a lot of Illustrator and stuff, so I
Okay.
personally the graphics.
Okay, cool. I mean, and again, I don't know if you guys are gonna wanna do any videoing. I have no idea. You know, I have a tripod for my iPad. I also have a $300 mic that I bought for my iPad. That's what we used at the panel discussion that Patrick led last week. So again, we've got some equipment. I have access to equipment for you guys. So again, you guys just have to think through the strategies you guys want to do and how far we can take it, how much time we have, you know, to put into that as well. And then we've got to do our sales forecasting as well. So is there anybody in here that's kind of accounting, finance? Anybody want to show it? Yeah, well, I don't know if we can, we'll see if we, as long as the undergrads are telling you what to do. Okay, that's what we'll have to figure it out. Well, again, we're gonna have to be doing forecasting of sales and projections, and I think they want us to forecast out, did they say how far? Through 20, well, they want a 3-year sales forecast. So again, we're gonna have to take the data, get the spreadsheet, and then make projections based on the lift we're gonna have, and market share, those sort of things. So, you got some finance or accounting?
It's a little bit of experience
Okay.
with undergrad classes, and I know how to make that Excel do things for me.
Okay. So I mean, I think once we get to that part in the budgeting and kind of the timeline sales forecast, we'll be working more. I think it's a bigger group at that point, just kind of getting everything to come together and package it up is sort of nice. So I think what let's do is let's at least get 1, 2, 3. I'd like to get 4 more classes set to cover the product, the channels, promotion, and the pricing sort of discussions. And I got my, I got this pulled up. I popped into my computer. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Go to My PC. So I'm actually I've remoted in just now to my PC over at North Campus. So that we can get in here, and this is my Outlook calendar. So what I was actually hoping to do was, I was thinking of, because I'm going to be in New York on the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, coming back on the 13th. So I was thinking of, let me just ask you guys, how does the 14th at around 3:30 look? Is that better if it's later, or would you guys rather do 8 o'clock in the morning?
Absolutely not 8 o'clock in the morning.
I've got a class at that time. If we can do around now, that works pretty
Does 2 o'clock work out, Sabina? I mean, I know you get at least an hour in there. Where do you have classes on Tuesday, Thursday?
I do.
Okay.
They end at 1:45, so anything after that.
Okay. I mean, is it okay if we kind of keep it at 2? You want to kind of keep it at 2 o'clock again? That's that.
I won't be here on Tuesday. I have class from 2 to 4.
You got class at 2 to 4. Okay. I mean, as long as, what about you guys? Will you guys at least be able to cover?
Yeah.
Working in Houston.
You're working? Okay, so Eric's here, at least. Okay. And what about the rest of you guys? Kind of okay? Yes,
I
no?
gave it a time, to be honest.
I'm sorry?
Later was better for me.
Later than 2 o'clock? Yeah. I mean, I can go as late as you guys want, doesn't matter to me. I mean, we could do 5 o'clock if 5 o'clock works for you guys. I just don't know if that starts interfering with your guys' work schedules or not. Wait,
Let's not get crazy.
I work at 5:30, but I work
Okay.
in industrial, so I have to leave here at like
right, okay,
4:45, 4:30.
okay. So 4 o'clock, it was definitely 4's out. 4, does that work for you guys, or that would work? Yeah, okay, so here's what we're just gonna keep it at 2, because we're never gonna get everybody. And then so what we'll do, the next one, let's shift to like a Wednesday. Okay, then you should probably be a little better sitting up on a Wednesday. Okay, so let's set this one at 2, we'll set this one at 2. And again, not sure of the class, we'll just assume it's here unless I tell you guys otherwise, okay? So 2 o'clock to 4. Okay, on the 14th, okay. And then I think, as you can see, this is my big reminder to enroll in the healthcare plan. Okay. So I don't forget. To hit me on. So I hit myself on the head too as a reminder. Let's see, I think what let's do is let's plan on then the next week. Let's do Wednesday, and you guys throw out some times what would be best for you on Wednesday.
Wednesday, I'm running fast at 12:15, so anytime after that.
Okay, so how does Wednesday kind of work for you guys? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
Wednesday, the 22nd.
The 22nd.
I'm getting married.
What? I don't believe that.
I would
I'm
never
cool
go
with
out.
that. I'm good.
I was thinking, how the hell did you keep that a secret? How does that work for you guys, kind of Wednesday?
Fine.
Would you rather be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? You want us to about the same time, 2 o'clock? Is that cool? Yeah, okay. Shelley, that works for you, that one? Yeah, okay. So we'll stick with 2.
The 29th.
That is the 22nd. And again, I think I'm okay with these being 1 week apart because we're dealing with product, we're dealing with channels. The next one, when we start getting into promotion, I want to wait 2 weeks for, because again, you guys are going to have to do a lot of work because you guys are going to have to think through a promotional strategy and looking at kind of what's going on socially, traditionally, et cetera. So I think for this next one, then let's jump like 2 weeks and, oh God, let me I have a chance for that. Yes, I am. We could do, I think we're gonna have to do probably, Thursday. I think we're gonna be back to Thursday. What about the 10th, Monday the 10th? How does that kind of work for you guys? What if we set 2 o'clock on Monday the 10th? Will that work? Shelley?
I'm working.
You're working?
I had class at 1.
You got class at 2 or?
I have work. I'll be at work at 2.
Okay.
I have class till 9:30.
Can we do any earlier on Tuesday? Or do you guys have classes? I'm sorry, Monday. Do you guys have classes Monday morning?
Till 2.
Till 2. So let's just, so you know what, I think Tuesday works better for everybody at 2 o'clock, is that correct? That's Shelley, no, you work on Tuesdays as well? Yes? Maybe
I
that
can
one,
I can ask.
maybe for that one you can,
Yeah,
again, that's gonna be a big one, that's where we're gonna talk about the promotional strategy.
I can.
So does that work for you? And the rest of you guys, kind of Tuesday at 2 o'clock? It seemed like that's kind of a good day. Okay, all right, so let's do it Tuesday too.
It's on the 11th.
Yeah, the 11th, you got it, yeah.
Is that gonna mess with everyone that it's a national holiday?
It is.
Veterans Day.
Does that cause a problem for anybody?
As long as I got free beer, I'm good.
11th and 12th?
No, it's
Just the
just the, what are you asking, Patrick?
Oh, 11th, sorry.
Yeah, just the 11th, yeah. Okay, rather than go 2 to 4. And then let's do one more the week after. Let's just stick on a Tuesday since the majority of you guys are shaking your head. Sorry. The 18th, let's just stick at the same time, 2 o'clock. The 18th. And then, yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a tight schedule. Because we lost about 4 weeks because it took so long to get us the case. And this all is still due, correct, on the, is it the 8th of December or something like that?
Oh, the 9th. We'll check.
I wish they would have given a little more time. You know, I'm never shy to ask for anything. I may just go back and ask Kyle at the AMA why they're not going to give us some more time since we lost a whole month. Doesn't hurt to ask.
December 17th.
Oh, they get us till the 17th?
Haven't done like, yeah, double check, but I'm pretty sure. December 17th, marking case and case entry form submitted electronically through chapter.
Oh, okay, all right, then they do give us a little more time. Okay. All right, that's good. So at that point, that gives us like 4 more weeks, but I know it's gonna be tight for you because it's gonna start rolling into the final exams as well, so we'll figure it out.
So,
Okay, so let's just confirm the dates. I wanna make sure we got them, and I'll send you guys an email. So we've got the next meeting, our next one is the 14th, correct? 14th, 2 o'clock, followed by the 22nd, 2 o'clock. Followed. Is that right? By the 11th, at 2 o'clock, followed by the 18th, 2 o'clock. Okay, all right. Yeah, and we may have to do a little digitally in there as well. That sounds good. Okay, so let's okay, so let's, before you guys talk about what you do for Miranda, let's open up these files. Okay, then, so now what exactly were you talking about when you noticed kind of inconsistency? So let me pull up this visual as well. You guys know what the name of it was? So Vince, which part would you?
I had a question about the indexes. I mean, I read your article that you posted at Bonfire.
Right.
I just wanted to confirm that, like, when you see a number like 152, that's actually 52% higher than average, correct?
Right.
Okay. And then also on the front page, it talks about Vitamin Water had changed their sweetener system, and this called for horrible outcry, and they had to change it back because it was so bad. I'm just confused because when I looked at the actual numbers for their data sales,
Right.
their sales actually increased during that time period. So I'm confused on why they're changing their product based off of, I mean, I understand their news feed and their social media was really bad, but if their sales is increasing and market share is still increasing, why is it a bad thing?
Okay, so where did they have the bullet on this?
I think a lot of people thought they got a bad bottle, so they were buying extras thinking, oh, I just got a bad one. And so it's not necessarily true that the increase in sales was a good thing, because when I researched it, I read a lot of people thought they just were like a bad batch or something, so they would like take a sip, throw it out, buy another one. So you can see, like, for a temporary time period, some people just kind of increasing their purchases, although not really the consumption, because they're throwing out a lot of product.
So you had read that somewhere?
Yeah, so, I mean, are you allowed to
And
ask
where-
questions to
And
them?
where
Yeah,
are,
they're setting up.
where are,
But,
Yeah.
and this was one thing I'm just wondering, because like,
so where in the data
Was it
did you
a
see
huge spike in
the
sales, or
increase?
was it just a moderate
they've
spike?
increased by a percentage of quantity over the time period,
Just 1%?
1% for each year on top, and they've increased, so they're decreasing in actual dollar sales.
So
But they're
which spreadsheet-
decreasing less slow than actual market is receding, so that was my next question.
Which spreadsheet are you looking at?
Vitamin Water Data 1 case study, underscore confidential. So the first slide, second, those first and second tab.
And so where are you seeing the increase?
In the numbers. I broke them out in percentages. It's based off the total for this market, assuming that we're using private label, Propel, and Sobe Vitamin Water as the entire market.
Right. And you're looking as a percent of the entire market.
Yeah, percent of market share to see if their actual market share is decreasing because they're switching out to competitors, or if the market's just shrinking, or if people are switching out to entirely new entire markets segment.
Yeah, I don't know if we can assume this is the whole pie. I think that's part of my concern, that you're kind of assuming that's the whole pie. And just because of that portion, again, because they definitely are seeing a decrease in units, correct?
Yes,
So it would be 2 to 43.
and so the question is why? Because they're not losing market share; they've gained market share from this.
Well, that's assuming Sobe Life, Propel, private label makes up all the rest of
Yes.
that market, right?
Yes.
So, which I don't know if we can assume that necessarily.
Then, yeah, I mean, I could agree with that, but the question is, we don't have a whole outlook on it. How can we make an intelligent decision?
Well, I mean, you look at Vitamin Water's going down, you look at Sobe Life's going down, and Ryan and I were talking about this, you look at Propel's going down, I mean, everything's going down for these 1, 2, 3, 4, including the private label.
Because private label water's going up. They're competing against private label water,
It's-
right?
Well, water or flavored water?
Well, they're competing against regular water, aren't they?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is there's just more people emerging into the market and competing for kind of share of, quenching your thirst, whatever that is. And I just don't think we can, again, I don't think they're giving us, I think they're absolutely right, they're not giving us all the data we need all the data for all the categories, all the waters, et cetera, to actually see how big that pie is.
In some of the research we looked at earlier, wasn't it true that they kept saying that the main competitor was just regular water? Regular bottled water was the biggest competitor in terms of that. is that segment's growing. And so what people are doing is they're trading off between vitamin water and regular water.
Well, so their proposition.
I mean, then you're losing your entire market segment to a different segment themselves. You can't compete directly with
Right, but that's why
water with a different
but
product.
that's why
itself.
they need to have a stronger brand positioning, because it's like,
They
you
want to
know,
pull it back. into
yeah,
this
exactly.
category.
When
It's-
you could just,
Yeah, I agree with that. That's one of the things I'm asking is that unless we know really what the outlook is, are they really in just a bad situation that the market's actually shrinking, or are other people moving over to different market segments? Because the actual marketing campaign you're looking at is going to change drastically across what's happening. That's why I was trying to get a clear conceptual
so two
idea of
things,
what's happening
yeah,
in the
two
market.
things that are making it difficult is, you're right, you don't have all the data. But second, from vitamin water's point of view, they don't think it matters, because it seems to me, because they're only giving you this data, and they told you that they're kind of start looking at this as a targeting strategy to younger people, that they think that's kind of like the key to the question, like if they branded it better and could get, younger people hooked on it based on branding.
So my question is then, what are they doing wrong now? Because if we look at
It's a weak branding position, right?
their heavy half,
Yeah.
they're holding 62% of the market.
Right.
And if you look at actually who they're saying is their heavy half on the actual people consuming their product, it's not kids. They don't actually break out children under the age. They lump everyone below 35 together. So that's one number I'd like to see is that, can we get some more segments of younger ages there besides just
I don't- I
35,
can try, I don't think we're gonna give us any more data.
ridiculously younger?
I'm sorry?
But I mean, like, even when you look at it, you're looking at people between the ages of 35 and 44. So with that information and the amount of money they're making, you would assume that their funnel is working and they've actually attached these consumers for life.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're buying.
That's the problem, that they got it when they were younger, and they're staying with the product as they get older. That's why now, everybody's aged 10 years. The problem is they didn't continue to bring in young people because the young people went somewhere else.
That's just my question.
So-
Are they failing at that? Do they change their marketing? Or
Well, I think we have to assume their current strategy just doesn't work today to capture that 19 to 25-year-old segment. So it was working 10 years ago. It's not working today. So I think that's where we've got to come up with that new. And you're right, though. I mean, they're not giving us everything here. But I think that's the biggest issue. They brought those guys in 10 years ago. They aged. They're still there. And they'll age another 10 years, and that they better do something if they need to keep bringing in some new blood at the top of the funnel, right? Otherwise, they're going to have a problem. So I think that's where we have to look to see, what some of the other brands out there are doing. Now, part of the problem is we don't really know where that age group is going to at the moment. What other products are going to, if they're going to the Powerade, or they're going to the Propel, whatever the case might be. But again, I think that's where we just have to assume that those are the competitors, and we'll look and see kind of what they're doing out there. And that's what they kind of targeted as their competitor. And then we'll,
and we're sure that the age group is actually the same size or expanding.
So what's the question?
We're sure the population of 18 to 25-year-olds is actually the same size or expanding.
Well, that's easy enough to find out. I believe it still is a little bit because of the, it would be because of the, the baby boom, whatever, ricochet or whatever, the baby boomers having kids and never having kids. So I think it is, I think it's easy, that's easy enough to find out by, doing queries on the internet to look at demographics.
So what you were asking,
It's
is that
like,
age group the same size as it was?
yeah, because if it's shrinking,
I mean,
then you're expecting your share to fall anyway. in that category, so.
So I think that's a good point. So, and I think with, and again, hopefully the younger brand groups are taking some notes. So again, I think one of the things you guys could do is go look at some census level data and see kind of what that age group represented in the population 10 years ago versus today. So just by virtue of the fact that there's 3% less people in that age group than naturally affect your target if you're moving down. 2%.
Yeah, but it's a function of both population and immigration, so it's sort of like not just people that are born here, but, you know, and actually, and the whole immigration thing brings up the whole other thing of, are they doing any kind of cultural marketing that might help them? Because, you know, certain segments are growing faster than others, and, you know, that's the other thing, if they just continue the same brand strategy that they had 10 years ago, you know, the world's changed.
Right. Well, what's their one now? It's the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hydrate.
Yeah.
How long has that been around?
I think it's been pretty current, but it seems like they're just kind of going more like to that like musical art culture.
Yeah,
But it's weird though, because if you go to their site, they have a link to their Tumblr, and all it is, it just says, hydrate your hustle,
Yeah.
like the hashtag like how I hustle or whatever, and then it just has videos of like
Yeah.
music,
Right.
and that's
I-
it.
I-
Component for
I personally love that.
virality or
Yeah.
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 I've got a great video up here that we should totally steal. Of a better promotion for vitamin water. It was done as a case study.
Right.
But if you don't mind watching, I've got it pulled up. It'll show you through this hydrate and hustle thing. And when I went to the website, I'm like, that is garbage. I'm completely unintrigued.
Right.
But this
Yeah, the
is a
video
lot
you're
more
talking
like,
about. Well, let's not get into it this class though, Eric, but can you send me the link to it? And then I'll figure out when to bring it up. So is this a video done, did some other student did, or?
oh, this was posted on YouTube 2013. It starts off with, you know, how boring water is.
Right.
So the brand is hashtag make boring, you know, let's see, what was it? Brilliant. And this looks like it was somewhere out of Australia. So
And
they just, you know, just like
just-
flash mobs and things and do unexpected stuff, a lot like, you know, Up for Whatever with AB.
Well, we could arrange some flash mobs here.
That's a specialty of mine.
So send me the link for now, and then we'll definitely forward it. Yeah.
Do we have a bonfire? Is that for this group or for the?
Yeah, no, there is. Make sure you're in an AMA. It should be AMA competition.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, if you can't find it, I'll email you a link.
That'd be great if you posted that on the bonfire.
Oh, no problem.
Not that I'm lazy, I'm gonna look up the link either way, but then
Okay, so the other thing which I just wanted to remind you, and that reminded me, because Catherine's the president of the marketing club. So how many of you guys have already registered for the AMA? You guys are members? Okay. So here's the deal I will make with you guys, and this is what the marketing club does. Did you guys pay the $47? Is that what you guys paid? So if you guys do become active members of the marketing club, which means you have to come to a couple meetings and apply for you to get filed in a committee, because it's all of our DNA collegiate chapter, so that's why all of this is all happening, because we merged with the American Marketing Association. And just so you guys know, we're the only university in the whole of St. Louis that is part of the American Marketing Association and a formed collegiate chapter. So WSU doesn't have one, SLU doesn't have one, Linden doesn't have one, Webster doesn't have one, and I love it. So we're gonna play it up to the max. So if you guys also, and again, I know Marty's gonna be there tomorrow. We do have a meeting tomorrow at 5 o'clock, FYI. I'm bringing in pizza, and we're gonna be talking about committees and fun things we're gonna do, and we've got a golf outing coming up on the 17th where the team is gonna be playing and a couple other faculty members are gonna play the Creve Court. Then I will reimburse $17, so the marketing club subsidizes the AMA membership a little bit, and you only have to pay $30. So just remind me, Marty, you paid the $47, so just remind me, and Jen will be there tomorrow, and we'll be reimbursed for the rest of that as well. But just make sure you guys get registered quickly. And again, would love for you guys to become involved, because we do lots of fun stuff. We go up to Lockerdale, we go on industry visits, just all sorts of cool things. We've got the main guy from LinkedIn University is gonna be here, and what date did we set, guys? The 21st or 22nd. So the guy from LinkedIn University is gonna be here on the 21st at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be talking with, it's going to be a campus-wide event that we're posting, talking with all the students about building a strong LinkedIn profile, because your resumes don't really mean anything anymore. It's really what you got on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, kind of. Well, it's a digital world, like digital world.
Yeah.
So again, he's coming in to kind of talk with students on kind of building that really strong, rich kind of presence out there on LinkedIn. So we have all sorts of stuff like that going on. So as soon as you guys do join, let me know. Send me an email so I've got your membership number, because I have to get that back to the AMA. So again, that's why it was an emergency. I needed a few of your guys' AMA numbers before they would release the case competition. So we just had to make sure we had at least one or two people kind of officially signed up. So I know we got that set. Okay, so does that sound good, guys? So again, if any of you guys want to pop over tomorrow, 5 o'clock, it's going to be the top floor of SSB, 401 SSB. So the dean gave us his private conference room, and I'm bringing in pizza. I'll probably sneak in some wine and some beer.
I was wondering when you said I mentioned.
Whatever it takes to get you guys to engage, whatever it takes, right? That's what I do. I have a mission. Okay. All right. So let's. So guys, is there anything else with this? You got any other thing you want to talk about? Anybody? Patrick, do you want to say anything else about the marketing club?
Yes, like he said, if you are not a member, I want to encourage everyone to at least use the marketing club to your advantage. I know a lot of times commitment to a club sounds like this dreadful thing. People act like it's marriage or something, but you can go to our events and at least get something out for yourself. If you go, I mean, I'm not saying you have to do a whole lot of stuff. You can go and be a part of it. If you want to help, the more the merrier, but it's a really great experience to network, meet local professionals, learn a lot of neat and interesting things outside the classroom. So I encourage you, if you know anyone else that hasn't been involved in anything and wants to get involved, we're a pretty relaxed, fun club and doing a lot of cool, amazing things. These two are really pushing us along, Perry and Rhonda. It's just, yeah, I didn't think I'd be doing all the stuff I was 2 weeks ago that I'm doing now.
Yeah, quickly, I don't think he knows what happened. So just so you know, when we became an official collegiate chapter, we had a little bit of a problem. The president of the marketing club was an MBA student. The vice president was an MBA student. The treasurer was an MBA student. Well, as we found out, when you're a collegiate chapter, the marketing club has to be run by all undergraduates. So we immediately elected Patrick. He didn't really have a choice to become the president, and then Jacob, who was our treasurer, to become the vice president. Sean was already there, so he's the chair of the communications committee. But so we were scrambling to get everything kind of realigned. But I'm excited because we got a lot of strong members this year. And again, I really want to get this into the hands of the undergrads. I don't want to be the one driving it. I want, the undergrads to be driving this. I want this to be your club. So, and it's some of you guys.
Bring your own then.
You
could fund the booze.
But, and as a couple of you guys know, when Rhonda and I went to Upsall way back when we graduated here in, shall I say, 1984, she was the president of the mathematics club, and I was the vice president of the mathematics club. And when we took that,
geeked out.
It was actually a pretty cool club. When we left here,
For a bunch of geeks.
Well, again, we did a lot of drinking, but
But the computer science people were part of the math department.
oh, that's true. That's true. Not even being anyway. I mean, we had about, when we left here, we left with about 100 active members. I mean, it was a really, really strong
Can you
club.
even imagine it? That many people joining the math club?
Yeah.
It's like, it's
But, I mean,
unbelievable.
we worked it hard. We had a lot of events, and we got faculty involved, those sort of things. So, yeah. So, okay, guys. All right. So, Rhonda, you want to kind of?
Not really. I think we should just present there.
You kind of tell them what you
Eric, come on.
do.
This is your class. Come on.
Well, you're the one that set the
Well,
first
okay,
sentence.
so we set the homework assignment and you had 3 questions to answer, and I got your assignments, and I just figured what we should do is everybody could present their answers, and then we could talk about them together. I mean, while you I mean, you could go in any order, and you guys know what you prepared, each team knows what you guys prepared and turned in, but I'm assuming you don't know what the other teams
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is, you know, as we present, you know, it just becomes kind of a conversation of, you know, well, we did it slightly different, or we looked at this or that, or whatever, just so it's more a learning experience.
That's-
So,
I don't know if you guys, did you guys prepare anything to pull up on the computer, or which party, what's your team do?
We just kind of printed it out. I know like Sam, Emily, who's not here, they kind of did more of the numbers.
Okay,
But I just kind of had.
well,
okay,
okay,
you just wanna just have a walk it through, or?
well, we should still have it on a PowerPoint, because you're recording it, so you should really have it pulled up, right?
Have what, hold up.
They're in,
Or,
everybody, once we go through the presentation.
if they can, they have it digitally. Do you guys have something digital? Yeah, okay, we'll start with you. Okay.
So do you guys have it digitally or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think it just
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay, yeah. You got, do you have it on?
It's on Google Drive.
Okay, you wanna have one? Yeah, okay. Do you have to log on to your Gmail?
Yeah.
Let's do it, 'cause I don't want to lose this. Yeah, because I'm already logged in, so I know. So once you go through, I'm sure.
I can do that too.
Oh, you wanna do? Okay. If you guys wanna share it with me, then we can pull it up through, Google Drive, if you want. Okay. Marty, do you guys have yours on a stick, or you got it on?
I got it on my email.
Yeah.
Ours is actually,
I have paper.
No, I have paper.
What's wrong?
I'm gonna share ours with you actually.
You did?
Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah. Overlay road.
I know.
First one this year? Yep.
Well, there you go, perfect, simple.
Great.
Easy.
All right, guys, take it away. Let you guys come up. Okay. Are you guys okay without the other two members? You'll be.
That's
Hey,
fine.
if anything's wrong, you can just blame it, you can blame it on us.
I know.
It's just a
And you kind of
conversation.
waived it all.
Hopefully,
Like,
are you really trying to-
bring it before you're gonna physically, that's a giant decision.
That's true.
Okay.
We wrote ours down since there were originally 3 questions. We ended up breaking each question down a little bit further since there was a lot of different steps in the questions.
Yeah, so basically this is just the competitive prices in comparison, that we found. We kind of put it in the enhanced water section, we compared all those companies.
And how did you get this? Did you get this actually physically?
We looked all the numbers up online.
Okay.
Found a few different sources for them.
So where's the price, okay, so vitamin water's 20-ounce bottle is sold for between $1.30 to $1. Go, that's in the red at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then all the other prices that you've got, sometimes it's helpful to convert it to a per ounce price, so that you get more of those standards, and some of the bottle sizes here, they fluctuate a little. But it still shows, because obviously it's for a consumer, they're actually scanning. So both prices are relevant, but it still begs the question of sometimes, you know, a 20-ounce bottle versus a 16-ounce bottle, there's a 4-ounce plus there. So it's just something to think about.
Just equalize it.
Yeah.
Scale.
Yeah,
If
it's like
you
a
do it,
scale issue.
Well, just like on the labels on the grocery store shelves, you know, it doesn't matter for whatever.
Okay, so what was the conclusion here? Besides the pricing and showing kind of where it fit in, 'cause it definitely does fit in more closely to the enhanced water group, because the pricing is kind of on the low end of the enhanced water group.
Well, this was just for data. The next slide, I think, has our conclusion.
Oh, okay.
That was more data we had.
Okay, so now here you're showing it by channel and retail.
Mhm.
So your hypothesis is that it would take, from the pricing, if you dropped it by 15 cents, it would source volume from Propel and Snapple and Sparkling Ice, because those, it would all of a sudden then be priced just below all those.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then was there a projection or anything as well?
I think so, I think so, you guys have that on your side. Well, the question, the way it was phrased was how much revenue would, or sales would they have to make up for the loss in revenue? So if you're dropping the price by 15 cents, how many more units would they have to sell to make that back?
So that's what this table is showing.
Okay, so how much is that as a percentage of current sales though?
Like 329 million.
Yeah, what is it? Let's just like figure that out. 329 million.
So we kind of estimated it off of like Coca-Cola's revenue, since we can find the lighting water revenue specifically. So we took 7% of Coca-Cola's total revenue. We use that as our calculation. So that's where the 3.2 million came from. And then we kind of just, divided that by the price of the water.
So, okay, so. Okay, so it's 329.
Divided by 2.854.
Finding my calculator as we speak here. Okay, so 329 divided by 25, is that basically?
Divided by 3.8.
Oh, no, you're doing it correct. So it's like a 13% increase.
Got
Yeah, so they need to, so the price drop would have to drive a 13% increase. So that's the question, whether or not a 13% increase would be achievable with the price drop. So, again, this would be where sort of other research, if you could, run across anything about other brands dropping price and what they got. It's like a price elasticity, for each percentage decrease in price, what does that drive? So, yeah, exactly. So, so what was the conclusion when, you figured this number, so did you think it was a good idea to drop it by 15 cents? Or what was the thought?
Well, we thought that since we dropped it by that amount, that we would take, sales from the other three companies, they have Propel, Sparkling Ice, and the other one, Snapple. So we thought that, we'd take like a pretty big market share from them since we're now priced below them. I don't know if we established totally whether or not it was like or how much we would take from them. Our number, I think, is a little off now that we have more, data from.
Right. Okay, so I would like to hear anybody else. You guys all did this problem. Did you guys think about the percentage increase of sales that you'd have to drive in order to make up the revenue? Had you figured that part out, or did you just kind of get the number as well?
Sales in dollars or?
How many additional, the percentage increase in units you would have to sell, or a percentage increase in sales that you would have to drive in order to make up for the lost revenue? And whether that was a doable thing.
We didn't do the actual units, but we went through how much sales we would have to make to reach a percentage goal with the 3, 5, and 10% increases.
Okay, so did anybody have any thoughts about whether just the whole idea of a price drop to get share, is that a good idea or a bad idea? In general, did you guys, so you say that.
We said that we don't recommend the price drop because looking at other products, when they drop the price, it sort of looks like that they're losing quality because they're going cheaper, so people are a little bit more stingy to buy.
Okay, so that's one reason why you don't wanna drop price, because it looks like you're degrading your brand. It looks like you're devaluing your brand. Is there any other reason you don't wanna drop price? Anybody else have a reason?
An issue we brought up was once you lower the price and say you get that extra segmentation piece of the pie, are you gonna be able to raise it later? How's that gonna work?
Right, which is one of the tactics that the Weidenwater brings up in the case study. They talk about promotional strategies. You can do temporary price reductions, like putting it on deal in certain retailers, certain times. Yeah. But the reason you generally don't want to drop price to get market share is because there's nothing special about that. You know, any retailer, any of your competitors can do the exact same thing, and we know what the margins are with respect to water. Every single one of your competitors can follow suit, and then you're just kind of wrecking the whole category for everybody. So you might want to do temporary price reductions, but it's probably not the greatest idea as like a long-term strategy, because all your competitors are running on.
Yeah, you're gonna drive your costs up per unit too, when you're producing more. The question I had is that, do we know like any of the actual pricing in this industry, like in beer and wine markets, or especially in wine markets, that price reflects quality very heavily, more so than other drinking markets? Is that an actual factor in this market, or do we know?
It's sells water. It's all cheap.
Yeah. Even in here, it
With
says
a
that
few
you get
bottles.
10 for 10, so it's $1 a bottle, so which is even less than what we're seeing on these spreadsheets here. So it's
Well,
not,
they're selling $1 bottle at Target for 20 ounces, so their packaging is actually 2%.
yeah, so it's all cheap, so, but if you drop the price, what are you gonna do, sell it for 50?
Doesn't mean if you're selling $50, so $1 could be expensive compared to 50 cents a bottle somewhere else. So
Mhm.
it's all relative. Yes.
Another question that I have with the price reduction is, are you going to be able to capture enough additional sales that it's going to make up for the lost revenue that you lost from the people that were already buying the product and willing to pay that higher price?
Well, right. I mean, that's why, you never really know that. It's possible that one of the outcomes of a lower price point is that people buy more. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap. Instead of buying this amount, I can afford to buy more. But in general, I mean, I don't know if you guys can even remember before there were such a thing as 2 liters. But that was like the beverage industry's big idea to get people to buy more and more. So instead of going to the store and buying, whatever size that existed before 2 liters, 2 liters is so much more. I mean, we all drink way more soda than we ever did because the sizes are bigger, and it's the same thing as the ones that are soda fountains. People didn't used to drink such large, portions of soda. New York, Bloomberg, trying to outlaw the big, the big sizes of soda in restaurants. But I mean, that's another way you could drive additional volume, is you could make each. It wasn't one of your homework questions, but again, that would be.
That is definitely one of the questions here.
Yeah, pack size. Put it, each bottle a couple more ounces, and you're driving, for each unit size, which is another way to sneak in a price reduction. You keep the price point the same on a per unit basis, and you increase the size so that, consumer, when they're going to, the shelves, they say, well, this one's a little bit bigger, even though it's the same size, I'm getting a couple more ounces, I think that's a good deal, and then they buy it.
Oh, I was thinking of people reducing.
Well, but it depends on what their strategy is. They're trying to get a higher market share. They're trying to, what are they trying to do? Yeah. So, okay. So, shall we go to the next question? All right. So this is good because it's practically like I was reading their mind right from the case, even though it wasn't issued. They're repositioning, but they don't want to change the formulation. Okay, repositioning though is pretty vague in terms of what we mean with respect to repositioning. So when we say repositioning, it could just mean kind of freshening it up and making it seem more hip. It could just be so. When you did this, were you thinking that the repositioning would be vitamin water as a direct competitor in the sports drink category?
I think so. It's the next
Yeah.
Yeah, we were pretty much doing that since, we thought it was moving away from like the water category
Uh-huh.
into more of the, well, since the question was asking about, positioning for less serious athletes.
Oh, for less serious athletes. So in
Yeah.
other words, they would basically be messaging though, that this is the drink for you if you're a
Yeah.
sometime athlete.
Mhm.
Okay, so you thought that if they did that, they would actually start focusing people to make the competitive choices between vitamin water and Powerade and Gatorade.
We kind of had issues too finding like what's really in between, you know, Powerade and Gatorade and the water category since, I mean, Powerade and Gatorade are obviously for, I mean, they're serious athletes as well. But, I mean, water is not for athletes really, I mean, if you're looking at that kind of category. So the in-between was kind of sketchy, I guess. It was kind of hard to just determine.
Okay,
So I think that's kind of why we went along with, the Powerade and Gatorade.
okay, so you thought in repositioning it, it would throw them more into the heavy duty athlete drink competitive set.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean, because repositioning can be really vague, you know, yeah. This slide gave me a little bit of a chuckle. So just a question for this one is just, okay, if you reposition a product, if you're already a loyal customer, the repositioning probably doesn't impact you because you're already loyal. Okay, the repositioning really intended to just make new people sit up and take notice and consider a product that they never considered before. But I thought this was an interesting response to their question. I mean, it's kind of like that all of a sudden people that were loyal customers all of a sudden feeling angry and tricked. But what it seems like the response was is the anger and the trickery was felt by the reformulation, not by the repositioning. So it kind of felt like this question was a little, it was focused on a different question, but that's fine. It's, you know, and I thought it was the first time I ever saw sort of a personal testimony and a homework assignment.
Did you don't think repositioning could eliminate current customers? You don't think that's possible?
I mean, you know, if you do it really badly, I guess so. But I mean, you know,
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go back to the situation I was involved in I used to work at the Readers Digest Association for many, many years, and they were trying to bring the brand into the 21st century.
I know, but that was too severe of a
Well, I
reposition.
know, but what they actually did, if you guys remember the old Reader's Digest, they used to have an index on the outer cover. The outer cover was the index, and it told you where every article was on the outside. It's not really magazine, you know, it's a Reader's Digest, that's what it was. And they decided, oh, let's make it look like all the other magazines, and let's put a beautiful picture on the outside and just highlight a couple of key articles, and we'll move the index on the inside. What happened is they totally pissed off their loyal customer base.
That's just
Because they had some really, but again, they didn't change the content, they didn't change.
I'm talking about the messaging as it gets advertised. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the same product,
Right.
but you're just basically talking about it to the public of, you know, your messaging separately. I mean,
Well,
when I consulted with Clairol, they did something really stupid with, Clairol basically owned the highlighting, you know, the frosting and the highlights, and they basically they owned that part of the hair color category. And the head of marketing at the time, this is really what got her fired. She decided that all these different brands, there was like Frost and Tip, and different brand names, all under the Clairol umbrella. She wanted to bring them all under one umbrella. And she just changed all the brand names arbitrarily. No research, no nothing. And people that use those products, they couldn't find them in the store anymore because the packaging was completely different. And she thought, oh, well, this is a great idea because they're all kind of highlighted products, they should all be kind of the same. And so essentially, you could actually see the trend in the data that her sales just went like into the toilet. And she got fired. And she basically gave up that part of her business to L'Oreal, you know, because, you know, she must, you know, she just,
No market research.
no market research, but I mean, that's really like what you would call a really bad idea. You wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't do it. You know, customer goes to the shelf, they can't even find it because you've renamed it and changed packaging. I mean, I think a repositioning is like a repositioning of message only. And just saying kind of like who you're talking to and where you're putting your messages. You're not changing the look of the product, you're not changing the formulation, you know, you're not renaming it, you know. So, I mean, you know, for your size is changing the look. That's pretty big, you know. So, I mean, seriously, if all you're doing is just changing the messaging or the tagline or the slogan or something like that, it really shouldn't alienate your loyal customers. Yeah.
Also, I think, me personally, I feel like when I think of like flavored waters, and Vitamin Water doesn't really have that strong of like a brand image. Like I know now they're doing stuff about like the rap music and stuff, but that's not really like a personal brand. So maybe that's an idea to make it more personal and not just like, I don't know. I just think that like their
Doesn't
positioning isn't
speak to
really
you.
strong. It doesn't really
Yeah.
speak to anybody though, because it just doesn't have anything to do with the product. Like
Yeah.
Red Bull is like action, and Gatorade is like sports, but this isn't even like they're not highlighting anything. They're just like showing their label and a band.
Yeah, having it set on a stool behind the guitar.
Right,
Yeah,
and think about that, and think about that. It's a perfect example. Then why aren't they showing people using vitamin water, like grabbing a vitamin water when you go out for a brisk walk, or grabbing a vitamin water when you go out for a quick run?
Yeah.
You know, why is it, you know, oh, I get real sweaty when I dance hip hop, so I'm gonna bring my, I mean, they don't even show the person drinking it while they're dancing. They
No.
just have the music and then they show the water, right?
Exactly.
So it's silly, like what's the connection? You know, so it is kind of weird. You know?
Well, I think they wanted to try to interject their brand into that younger market, so they wanted to do it. I don't think they would have to it. They wanted something I think that like, you know, the Red Bull.
Well, there's like a ton of different ways they could do it. Like they can show people trying to like pick up new dance moves and then taking a break and like throwing bottles of water to each other and hey, you know, you ready to rehydrate? Oh, like, worked up a sweat. You know what I mean? They could do it. Bring if they want to bring the dance in. But I think what they were just hoping for is the whole experience that Gatorade had with that David Banner guy.
Mm.
You remember? Because he had, you know. So I think they were trying to replicate that. Yeah, get a viral video going and then the brain goes all over. So anyway, okay. All right, so next.
So what are you guys basically saying on this one? In a nutshell?
Yeah, so where did you guys net out with respect to changing the positioning? And it only cost a new messaging strategy and then media to get the new message out. Did you think that was a good strategy?
I'm not exactly sure. So Audrey was the one who she was working this part, not here. I think we decided though that it was a sound strategy.
But with the caveat that you thought it was like the repositioning meant that you were going more towards head-to-head against Gatorade or Powerade, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you thought, it's like it seemed like earlier you thought that repositioning meant that you were going head-to-head with those terms. And so maybe, you know, this is just kind of like it's not relevant because you don't have to reposition it that much to go head-to-head with those sports drinks. And you can reposition it slightly and still kind of, it retains its brand identity, but you're basically speaking to the person that just, you know, is a more of a light exerciser, kind of not like an elite athlete. So, okay, so then the rest of your presentation, as I recall, you guys did a lot of competitive analysis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was more, or another point we had on that,
Right.
the other strategy.
Okay.
So we only have about 45 more minutes.
Yeah.
Would we rather have the other groups?
Yeah, why don't we just push off the competitive analysis for now? You know, we can just talk about that kind of as a roundtable, and what we can learn about that.
Or
Okay.
do you guys want to come on? Yeah.
Okay,
Good
well,
job, guys.
thank you.
Great stuff.
So you're getting some emails?
I don't know.
Here's your email.
So,
I think so.
Nice. Did you guys share it with me?
I think I sent it. Yeah.
Maybe just do a refresh. Just click share. So, yeah, just go through when you do, just go through ID, because otherwise you'll log in. Yeah, you'll just go through ID. That's cool.
So also, on the website, it says moving Ferguson forward, and it's about $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, I just saw that, what is that?
It's
No
an
idea.
Emerson giving like a some,
They're giving scholarships to
Yeah,
students to
for-
come down, so.
yes,
yeah.
from this.
Oh, that's good, that's good. So that just happened,
I think that for the already like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
I guess one thing we were kind of talking about when we met up too is like a potential problem of like, actually affecting other products. Like actually the Smart Water is at the same company, and then
Yeah.
I believe we have a couple other ones. That was one thing we were talking about too.
Kind of cannibalizing their own.
Right, yeah,
line.
so I think that's one reason why we were saying like we shouldn't reposition to like, I guess it was more of like that sports category. Because I guess then it could hit, it could hurt Powerade because that's the same company as well.
Right.
And it could also be very expensive possibly.
Well, you have to be careful, because repositioning doesn't necessarily mean you're repositioning it out of its current segment, it just means you're defining more. It's
Right.
kind of like, it needs to be, I mean, obviously, that was in the actual write-up for the thing, that they're saying they're repositioning, it's not a huge, like a huge major reposition, it's a slight reposition to define, so that consumers feel like, oh, well, this is talking to me, this messaging is talking to me. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't seem like their message is very clear.
No, it's
on
not.
what they're trying to do.
Well, I mean, Vitamin Water isn't going to appeal to the extreme sport person, that's not gonna work for me if I'm going for a 20-mile run. I have no idea.
Yeah.
there is an elite athlete, everyone.
Just in mind.
Sobe does pretty good as far as like the extreme, like that, extreme sports like that culture, that lifestyle. I think that's one reason why Red Bull does so well, is because they kind of make it like it is like an everyday usage, which is crazy to me because you would think that'd be beneficial to us since we're dealing with a healthier raven of water. The message could be something that could be obviously used from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. But I think that's what Red Bull does so good, is that they market their message is very clear. It's like it's not necessarily about the drink. It's more of like this lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to their website, they have like everything.
I mean, we don't even see anything about the product.
Exactly. All you see, I mean, it goes from
Working.
from events, crazy events that people probably don't even know about.
I would imagine it's very heavily consumed by men, rather than women. It's like one of those drinks where if you want to stay up all night.
Well, Britney Spears drank a lot, and she said, well.
No, it's safe.
Red Bull vodka, that's the way to go.
Mix it for sure.
Yeah, she drank it to stay up late partying, but even so, I think that because of all the extreme sports stuff that draws men in. And so I think it's like, kind of like a man-oriented drink. It doesn't, plus it's bull. I mean, bull, it's not cow, it's bull, I mean, it's like, it's totally like,
Masculine.
yeah, exactly. So I think that, I think Red Bull is a whole different thing. But I think your comment was interesting. It's like, should be like somehow positioned a tagline that's the water from morning to night. Like you can drink it, in the morning, drink it at the night, it's always giving you a little bit extra, and again, it's not positioned that way. I don't know,
They have the product to do that, like we were talking about last time. It's just each drink has necessarily, different ingredients, and they also have different names. And they have different purposes, so they're supposed to affect you in different ways.
Yeah, I was looking at the label.
Yeah. Like there's
hardly
focus.
different, and one's vitality, one has.
Right. So it's one's like to relax. I think. I mean, I noticed there's other drinks too that are actually, instead of being an energy drink, they're supposed to actually do completely opposite. Like Bob Marley has a drink that does that, and actually energy as well. Their message isn't very clear.
Okay, guys, so let's hit on a couple of your things quickly, then we'll let Patrick script go.
Okay. I think, we kind of broke it down. Emily kind of did it by per ounce.
Yeah, that's good.
And I did it by per bottle, so we kind of have two different kinds of numbers.
Okay, so that's good. So on a per ounce basis, they're kind of like, well, with the exception of Nero, they're kind of at the top.
Yeah, I believe she went to obviously different
Retailers
or grocery stores and started Walmart and priced them out. And then, broke it down by per ounce. And then that, and then if they drop their price by 5 cents per ounce, those are the numbers that came up with for that.
But see, look at the Powerade Gatorade, you're sold in so much larger package sizes. So they're getting, like, for each bottle they sell, they're taking, they're selling a lot more volume. So that's kind of interesting.
Isn't vitamin water always sold in 40 ounce?
I think
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I only say I've seen it in the water bottle, but if it is, it's not everybody carries water.
I've only seen it in that size model.
But then Gatorade does have the 20 ounce thing too.
Yeah, no,
Vitamin Water's a 32 ounce.
What's that?
They have 32 ounce also.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta believe if they had a larger size, it would show up at Walmart, right? So it looks like they only have the 20 ounce size.
Yeah, it's probably not widely distributed. They claim it's 8% of their total volume, so.
It's 8%.
Yeah, so.
Walmart is 8%?
No, so the 32 ounce, is
Oh.
only 8% of the total volume.
Okay.
Costco's the 96 ounce bottle.
Pallet. I think it's more by a bottle. If you get the price drop, the average sales, and then the bottles per year was divided by the average price, we figured roughly $2. So calculate that out, it's about 331 million bottles per year. If you drop that by 25 cents per bottle, sales loss, and then the extra bottles needed, it's all kind of written out there. And then also we did 26 cents.
Okay. Now I didn't work through your numbers. This looks like if we are you sure that those numbers are right? Because I mean, it seems like for an extra penny price drop, the sales loss is way high.
Well, the top one is the average price of $2, and I think the second one's average price of $3.
Oh, I see,
That's
okay, I see, okay,
a little bit.
okay. Oh, I see, well, that's, okay, so then you kind of got two different things going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And then the bottle waters.
okay,
Where'd you guys get the sales about?
I think that was from the original PowerPoint. Those numbers. You could have the sales numbers on there.
Or no, that was by Ryan's?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so. It
Oh,
could
you
be,
did? Oh, okay.
you're
Yeah.
having trouble like finding a lot of that stuff. Or
okay, all right, so,
So just kind of broke it down in terms of what would happen if, at this point, this
So- So if we look at your numbers based on this one, it's like 47 million. And divided by 47 million divided by what was the other number, the base number of how many they sold for your 331? So that's, again, like a 14%. So the last year was like 13.7, you guys come up with a 14%. So it's in the same ballpark. Okay. All right.
Okay. This is kind of like we're seeing like the potential problem, possibly, hurting like, like Smart Water, even Powerade.
Because they're also in the
Right.
family. Okay.
Again, it depends on if you think it's going up to the same side of the population.
Yeah. Now, I got a question. What's the difference in the positioning with Smart Water and bottled water?
It's just strictly just
That's water.
like a filtered water. And they do. It's actually really expensive. I mean, it's compared to other bottled water, it's pretty expensive, and then it definitely comes in different sizes as well.
Besides intended to fulfill the unflavored hydration.
It's good water. It's pretty expensive,
Okay.
or it's definitely priced higher than most waters like the sun.
Okay, so then I think the next slide you guys had came to the conclusion of whether or not dropping the price, market share doesn't increase, just lose profits, sends a signal to consumers that the brand is unstable, and it has to show distinction from other products because it's the same price level. So all of the same kind of ideas that we already kind of discussed. So yeah, it's not a good idea. It's not a good strategy to drop your price unless, I mean, you almost never see it happening. But I do remember one situation where a brand did it and they gained a lot of market share, but they didn't gain a lot of revenue. And it was the person that recommended it. Marlboro cigarettes dropped their price, and about, I want to say it was like in the mid-90s. And this guy had built a model, and he told his management at Philip Morris that, if they dropped price, they would get all this,
They
because,
dropped it well below all the other cigarettes.
yeah, they dropped it well below all the other cigarettes. So people started switching brands like crazy to Marlboro, and they got a lot of market share. They didn't get a lot of revenue because they dropped their price. And so, it's kind of an interesting thing because you would have thought the management would have vetted the recommendation. They fired this guy because they were like, well, we got a lot of market share, but we're not making any money. So the guy got fired that made the recommendation. So, anyway.
Well, you do have to price appropriately. Just because you're gonna get more business doesn't mean you're gonna.
Well, right, but it's also tactical because you want to knock out. Sometimes you do this kind of stuff because you can knock out your competitor.
Right.
So I thought that was like what the strategy was. Philip Morris makes so much money. I mean, hell,
They don't need
knock out
it.
your competitors. So.
Okay.
So this is where it's got but it's larger.
Where you get the excess, it's 20 ounces. How much do I get? Ounces. It has 80 milligrams of that, 85 ounces.
Okay. Okay, so you thought you might steal a little bit of share from Gatorade and Powerade, but mostly the other ones.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
Any other discussion on this slide? Probably.
We were pretty similar. It was, we kind of pushed it towards what you were saying earlier with a lighter aspect. We were still trying to focus on competing with, I guess, Powerade and Gatorade, because at some point we felt it was kind of gray in that area, but it was a rebranding kind of as well.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't clear when I said it, but maybe this is a thing that you should start thinking about as you go through the whole project I mean, you have to think about all of the different products that are in the market and who doesn't own some sort of positioning that might be valuable for, for vitamin water. So obviously Gatorade and Powerade own that segment for the real serious elite athlete type of person. And then obviously the regular waters are just, they're just waters. But is there a unique need that vitamin water can fill? A unique need that they can fill that isn't to the elite athletes, and it's not just regular water, which is why I was kind of suggesting sort of the less serious athletes. I mean, there's plenty of just occasional people that when I work out, I don't consider myself, an elite athlete. Yeah.
It's just people that are like time pressed, or people that are hardworking, labor workers.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
so-
Well, you also have this whole segment of the population that's, for the last 10 years, had Go Green crammed down their throat.
Yeah.
So you have all those people that possibly want something that tastes like something, but aren't necessarily doing anything. They're just walking around, doing their errands, want something to drink that's not a soda.
Yeah. No, again, I don't know that we'll come up with the answer here, but it's sort of like, when you take into account that there's some positions in this segment of products, the water market, that aren't really being taken, and then you take the question that they throw out there, which is they really want to capitalize and develop some sort of relationship with the younger end of the market. There's got to be something there. Like, what would be a meaningful positioning to that group, and that you could sort of wrap the brand around, and that would probably be the winning strategy.
That's hopefully what we're gonna come up with in the next few weeks.
What are the things that's important to those people besides like hip hop music? I mean, the fact that, engineered, it's an engineered product to help, maybe that's a bad word because people don't like genetically modified foods or whatever. But, I mean, it's like designed for you, or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to, but you could probably do some research, again, on the demographics and what are the things that mean a lot to people in that age group, and then try to wrap a positioning around that.
I think we had trouble kind of trying to find the less serious athlete segment as well. Like there's obviously the Powerade and Gatorade for the sports athletes, but we're kind of stuck on, a less serious athlete segment to kind of focus on.
In terms of understanding how to define it, or
like, if we were to go into that market, which, like what numbers that is,
I think one thing we found like interesting too is like with the it's like flavored water, like there's the flavored water enhancers, like vitamin water mixed into like drops. But then also like sparkling ices, I think they're carbonated, but it's like a flavored water. They've actually been doing really well and did really well really fast. And that, to me, they're kind of like in that same, that flavored water. But yeah, I think that's where I kind of got confused too, is it's kind of like hard to, I guess, really necessarily say exactly who our competitors are when, like Sam was saying about the less, athletic. But I think Sobe is really almost identical to vitamin water more than anybody is, because they offer the same type of stuff.
Mhm.
Their drinks do different things.
Well, maybe like the tagline would be something like when I exercise and when I don't. Vitamin water.
that's kind of what you were kind of
Yeah,
saying.
it's like that every day. Yeah, it should be.
Because there's never
every day.
a day when you don't like run for like 7 miles or something. So you get Gatorade, but if
Well, that's one thing I kind of marketing this in a different way. One idea is kind of humorous, and do you sweat all the time? Are you literally always running everywhere? Vitamin water might not be for you, but if you are an everyday person who's on the go, need some boost in your energy and wants delicious water, you know, that kind of, you know, but I wouldn't fit in with the market right now as their position, but just something to push the brand, because eventually, like Sobe, everything, I think once the product's out there for a while, people start to mimic, and there's comparisons made. It's the brand overall is pushing that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so you say no to the repositioning, and again, the repositioning was the thought was like a binary. It's either gonna stay in its own category, it's gonna go to the Powerade. So that's kind of like a, you know, we kind of talked through that. That's not necessarily. There should be some sort of middle spot, you know, kind of. So, and then you talked about the sparkling ice. So that's very interesting. So that would be interesting to sort of dig into that, to see why sparkling ice did have so much success.
What I remember from reading that article was it had a lot to do with consumers like finding substitutions for carbonated drinks, which is kind of weird that I think it said that because I'm pretty sure sparkling ice is carbonated, but it was saying that there's been a huge like lift of consumers. You know, like I said, yeah, like start trying to stop drinking sodas, and you know, I think there is like that whole culture and lifestyle, you know, trying to be healthy, like you said, the Go Green. You think about it, even a lot of like not so much fast food restaurants, but like Chipotle is a good example. They're pushing like how they use natural ingredients. Yeah, so I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess, maybe these times too, people are trying to push more to that healthier lifestyle.
Right. Okay. So, okay, and then,
I think these were examples of other brands that repositioned.
Can you guys post that in the bonfire? So the other guys,
Yeah, those two.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you could post this in bonfire so the other teams can take a look, that'd be great. And then I'll share your decks with everybody as well.
gained 85% market share, 5% revenue by price drop and strong internet marketing for millennials. Wow.
Yeah, and that second company did something completely different.
Okay.
Well, Sobe's one of the, you know, more expensive brands, so if they're doing a price drop, then they're just coming a little bit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're packaging glass bottle too. It's not plastic, it's glass. It's pretty unique. It's kind of big, but yeah.
Oh, I always loved the glass bottles when I was, you know, here 10 years ago. I just kept buying them from the Pony Espresso. And just, it's like a little diagram, or, you know, you just cut, you know, get all these different bottles, all these different characters and cool art. It's a cheap way to decorate your house.
Yes, it is. So, I'm just curious, do green enthusiasts think glass bottles are better than plastic as well? That's necessarily. I'm just curious about that.
When I was looking at their Facebook page, Vitaminwater's Facebook page, I noticed a couple people posted that they didn't like how the plastic was so thick on Vitaminwater bottles, and they thought that that was not very environmentally friendly. So I just said something to think about too. So
They got glasses.
yeah.
I mean, I personally hate, like, if I'm doing my 2-liter diet, I just hate how thin they are. It's something that's like grounded and it squirts out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's an interesting thing though, because you find that, for instance, that the group that you're supposed to be targeting to does have a lot of environmental sensibilities, then sort of suggesting in your strategy redesign the bottle to make it
so we should definitely.
less, you know, lower carbon footprint or something, because that's at least something that they could promote at the relaunch. Oh, it is, you know, it's the same vitamin water, it's, you know, it's a redesigned package to lower the carbon footprint or
So
something.
where did you read that? You read that?
It was on their Facebook page. I was reading through people commenting, posting.
Well, Poland Spring redesigned it. It was such a minimal thing they did. I think it saved a lot of plastic. They made the cap just like a fraction of an inch smaller on the bottle, and they claim that that saved like a ton in terms of plastic, yeah. And they promoted it as well, so.
I'm relying on you guys to remember these things.
Oh yeah, I think that was an article I found that I was having trouble like finding stuff, so I like was trying to use the you know, the slideshow you did for the first meeting. I was trying to use those. I've never seen Batman's one.
Okay. So this one, just see this slide, Sobe and Aquafina own 10% market share. So is this the idea, like this is where the market share would be sourced from? From Sobe and Aquafina?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's always a guess, where do you think your market share is gonna come from? But I mean, again, it's like depending on how you're positioning it, and if you're grabbing some kind of positioning, you know, to as close to one of your competitors that's not gonna spend behind them, you know. In other words, the strategy would be like, okay, Coke has a lot of money. This brand, they want to figure out a way to pump it up. Even if there's another brand out there that's kind of got a positioning, they can, if it's a weak brand that doesn't have as much money as they do, they could basically co-opt it, make it ever so slightly different, and then try to grab market share from that particular brand. But the other way to do it would be just to you know, figure out a unique position that nobody else has. So.
Just kind of talks about different products you would steal share from, and then you added 10% to your original sales, and it just kind of breaks it down, 5%, 3%, 10%. The middle numbers, the numbers started with the top numbers, added sales.
So the idea was you thought that you could get a 10% lift in repositioning.
Yeah, I think it might have been one of the questions asking if they could gain 10%, 3%, 5%.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to see if you guys could find any benchmarks in Google that seemed like a reasonable kind of increase based on our repositioning. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 10% might be a stretch, but I would think you could certainly get a 5 or 3% growth. I mean, maybe if there was enough spending behind it, you could get a 10% growth in repositioning. Yeah, why not, right?
Did you guys Google that at all, or that just?
No, I don't think that's just the number, the middle number is just
Well, the good thing about repositioning is, I mean, you know, the actual strategy, obviously, you know, it takes some time and creative thinking and so forth. But then just promoting and getting the message out there, you're going to get a bump on any advertising. But if it's good advertising and it's good repositioning, you should get, you know, some real sales behind it and actually see the brand actually really benefit from it. So,
this next one here kind of highlights some different entrants in the market recently.
right.
This one here, I think, yeah, I found this one. Vita Coco's been around for a while, but they recently just introduced a sports drink.
Right, now that's an interesting positioning because it's to athletes, but it's all natural.
Yes.
So that's the position. So,
Coconut water seems to be like, I know Sobe actually makes, I think it's been out a little bit, but pretty new. They have a strong version of it too. Actually, in some different flavors as well.
yeah.
That seems like a pretty, coconut water is pretty, I think, decent trend right now. So,
Right, and that's why I suggested you look at new entrants to the market, because there's no reason to introduce a new product unless it's answering a need to care. So it gives you a sense of what are the ones that just came into the market. And again, that's one, that co-opt a brand, somebody that just came into the market that has a decent positioning that Vitamin Water could steal, that would be the way to go, because, presumably if there was a new brand that didn't have sort of the spending power of Coke behind it, that, if it fit with what Vitamin Water would be, obviously, Vitamin Water can't be, probably an all-natural, drink.
And why this is exclusive just to Target.
I'm not sure if the sports drink is just exclusive to Target or the entire product line is just exclusive to Target.
I think it has to be just a sports drink, because I've seen Vita Coca in other
I've
places.
honestly, I've never seen that.
Actually, maybe I've seen it, or I might be thinking of Zico. Zico's another coconut water brand. Actually, they carry it on some. Yeah. And then Vitamin Water, obviously, because it's Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So,
All right. But you were back to the new entrants, which is where we stopped.
Yeah.
So this was good.
Good job, guys. So guys, you wanna go for the last 15 and then you good?
I don't have it in a beautiful PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah, they submitted it, but you can still go through it with your, with
With
your,
Word document.
yeah, they had a Word document, that's fine.
The pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, if you want to pull up the Word, and then also you have your, Excel open.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
While they're getting ready, does the NBA guys wanna type in anything?
Well, I said we should definitely take a harder look at Propel and Sobeys websites, because they have beautiful things. Like when I saw Propel, I'm like, wow, I should probably buy this drink and drink it. And
We used to be having Propel drinkers, we were like, where we're going.
because it hit me, after looking at Vitamin Water's website, I'm totally uninspired. It's going for the R&D community. So if you're white, they're really not going after you, unless you're just big in R&B. So you just lost big demographic right there. It's like who's buying your product? They're targeting the wrong audience, is what I'm thinking. Propel at least is saying, hey, we're a workout drink. You go in here, you hit hard. Here's our support materials saying you go to the gym. Here's so it's really just gym focused.
Oh, you
And
can.
that's kind of inspiring to see that. And so you get their what they're trying to sell you is stay motivated. Here's resources to keep you stay healthy. And that's a great message you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Sobe, and it's really flashy, but they have testimonials, about all their products. So you go in there and you're not from just casual drinkers. I'm sure they hit the
So it's
streets.
not a service.
Whether it was a paid actor or not, it looks legit. So you got people not just putting product reviews, and it's a great product, but actual testimony and people telling why they like this, that, and the other, in a nice little short clip. So it's hitting that second screen perfectly.
No, I think Vitamin Water thought they were where Red Bull is.
Yeah.
And they could just throw up a bunch of video clips of the hip hop artists like Red Bull was in sports and just have pictures of how it works on.
Right.
They're not.
I mean, when I'm looking at Vitamin Water, I'm like, you don't have a message. You're not really going after anyone. You're just like, you're gonna buy us because.
The other thing that you guys should just ask yourself, if you're not currently Vitamin Water drinkers, what would it take for you to change? What would someone have to tell you to switch from your current favorite kind of water to Vitamin Water? What message would work for you?
Well, I tested it out and I said,
Yeah.
it's a good product, but, tell me why it's, better for me in the gym, send me some positive messages,
Vitamin water also not vitamin water zero, right? So that's our focus also, so it's not zero.
Well, what if you guys found out Mark Zuckerberg drank vitamin water religiously?
The hell would I care? I mean, if they wanted to go the RV route,
I guess he's pretty, he's kind of like at the top of his career, I guess you could say. He's the sort of person for that, hydrate hustle, which is kind of weird to me, so I'm just like, it's not like you said, if one person's doing it, how would you feel about that?
why aren't they using 50 Cent, who, kind of made vitamin water? I had, a household name back in the day. He got rich off vitamin water. He only,
Since he's not as popular anymore.
So did you really lose that?
Oh, yeah.
If you actually go to Google.
He made billions off that, I think,
Oh,
Billions
yeah.
At least.
He had his own energy shot too, not with vitamin water.
Like if you go on, usually he's in the top like 10, like if you put, he's got so much behind.
No,
There it is.
Or,
So is that his brand initially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they're doing that.
Yeah, so that's why they're there.
They also had the situation from Jersey
I wonder
Shore.
what he thinks how they screwed up his brand.
I mean, he probably don't care now. He's-
Well, you
Yeah.
go from OG to $50 million a day, he's tending not to care so much.
Okay, guys, we're gonna let them have.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we have a hard stop before. So you got 9 minutes.
Okay, well, that's good, because brevity is important. So we're looking at the price drop and base, we all kind of had different numbers when looking around. I think the main places were Save a Lot, we had Walmart, and then also Shop and Save Schnucks. And so like average, we had, this is kind of a written report, but we saw them ranging from $1 if you bought them in large quantities, like Shop and Save had some discounted sales going on. But in general, they were closer to like $1.89.
Okay.
And so they were kind of higher brand compared to some of the others. And we did actually compare them with Gatorade. Let me pull that up. There we go. So we kind of went across the board with them versus Gatorade, some of the Powerade is the main three. We didn't really go into Sobe, but so you kind of had that, and we noticed that their per ounce was kind of varying, but overall, we said we could reduce price. We didn't want to, but just for the sake of it, kind of reducing it about 40 cents. So that way it would kind of undercut some of the people with the larger share.
Okay. So what do you come out with in terms of what the increase in sales would actually cover the price to?
Increase in sales. Let me calculate that out. So I took the total sales that I had in 13 and divided it out by the price. And so I kind of got an estimate number of sales. So like units. So if they all sold for $1.89, which is pretty exaggerated because they're making discount sales, like 358 units. And if we reduce the price by about 35 cents, yeah, that one's 35. We'd be losing about 125 million is what's on there.
Okay.
So, and that was all taken from the label and information from the PowerPoint.
So is that the 70%?
Oh, I'm looking there. There, It looks like it'd be an 18% increase, like we're at 18.8% increase. But the thing is, they actually took a lower price drop, I think, than the other ones did, so yeah.
Yeah, it would
A little more aggressive.
Yeah.
double,
Yeah.
because I think the other one's about 15.
Yeah.
And based on some of the other information, they're at about 10% from 2013-12 data.
Mhm.
So, we're hoping to increase at least a substantial market share, but we would be losing a lot of revenue.
So what did you come out with in terms of whether you should do it or not, the price drop?
I think we put, make sure. We didn't say here and A directly. I feel like we were against it overall, so we didn't put that in there. Sorry.
Way to be committal.
We didn't put that in here, but overall, yes, because we put weaknesses in there as trying to recover from the price drop would be terrible. And be like, hey, we have this at a lower price, but now I want you to pay another 40 cents.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, the thing is, you could sell anything if you make it cheap enough, but, you know, that's not a good long-term strategy, so it's not a good thing to do, but, you know, I guess it just is a word to the wise, when you do your project for the competition, be very forceful and sure, whatever you're recommending, recommend it with your whole heart.
We'll do, we obviously went a whole nother route. We just thought we were trying to get answers, so didn't put them on.
This is just preliminary.
I know, I'm just saying.
Please don't vote us off the aisle. We can make the Toastmasters. So,
Okay, so then the second one was, what was the second one? The
Second
was,
one.
well, the repositioning, so.
Yeah. We were talking about main competitors we've looked at were Consobi, Propel, Gatorade, and Powerade being impacted by direct rebranding of Vitamin Water, and we took the base product as the rebranding, so we didn't go into very specific, we're gonna rebrand just Zero or 10 or the energy drink. Vitamin Water is a brand, and we were definitely behind focusing on media costs and considerations being sound as a strategy, because using those, like we talked about, 50 Cent isn't even in the picture, but he's still being brought up. That's how successful that was. And putting a product in the right hands and forcing the new, rebrand will be much more important. So we were looking at, as you put, your everyday person going out and about. So maybe just having family drinking vitamin water throughout the day, and a commercial is going to work, getting your energy boost, brand. At work, gonna have some triple X, but you just need something different. After work, going to the gym, something a little bit more down to earth. It's not, we're sweating colors of our drink
Yeah,
and playing football and lifting 100 pounds. No, we're going through our day, but we're having a healthy water drink.
right. So you see it as
It's
a
interesting. Do you guys
good
know
wholesome
50
family product.
do you guys know when 50 Cent had the product still? Was he trying to position it only as a pop scene, or?
Well, that's what he was big into, so he marketed to his audience, and it sold.
Then I'm sure he was
Probably an
out.
endorsement, he's a celebrity endorser for his own product.
Right.
But I'm just talking about the appeal of it. Was it only within the hip hop artist side? or-
No, there was actually, Carrie Underwood was on that energy one for a long time. And then I can't really remember the other ones, that's not the only one we drank. But it was not just hip hop.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just make a little YouTube video, just kind of remind you kind of what I'm gonna expect you guys to do before we get together again. And again, what we'll do is this time, though, what I want you guys to do is kind of create PowerPoint presentations. I don't know if these like with graphics and stuff. But again, I'm gonna want each team to kind of come up and give their perspective on what's the next one we're doing. It is going to be on Products, so we're gonna be talking size, bundles, containers, packaging, flavors, so again, then let each team kind of come up and make a recommendation on what you guys would propose they do in terms of the sizing, the flavors, get rid of some of them, not expand, whatever the case might be, based on your research. That's out of it, and then we'll talk together as a group and then kind of come to some conclusions and take the best of all your guys' thoughts and then move to the next sort of question. Sound good? Cool. Okay, I'll do a little YouTube video just so you don't have to read a lot of text for you guys to see. Okay, very cool. Good job. Great job, guys. Yeah, so fun stuff. Thank you, Rhonda.
Oh.
Appreciate it. So guys, let's thank Rhonda for hanging with us today. I'll cook you today. Okay, like I said, so while we're just touching, I'll give you the dates when we're putting it together again. Okay. So everybody good? Okay, we'll assume we're in this room unless we need you otherwise for the rest of the dates. Okay. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys. I know I'll see some of you tomorrow. Tomorrow. So I'm gonna need you.
I'm working. Okay, I may volunteer.
Yeah, even like last days that are important, like my class is usually evenings class, and I do go to our but all those days are like class.
I know.
Yeah. I'm sitting right here next to you, like, I can't do this again.
We're like,
Keep telling you no. Keep up
That's most of them pretty good.
yeah.
They're honest. This is so dumb.
Okay.
They are published on exclusive. God damn it, I have to go to the gym after this. Tell myself, I mean, at Bernard, personal fitness trainer.
Yeah, just.
So excited, like more watchable.
Yeah. Yeah, they know, who's drinking water? Outside the military, it's gonna be your gym people.
I haven't tried twice. I don't like color.
What I would like to see, in the product is, get a piece of it. When I buy water, I buy by the case. I don't wanna buy by the bottle. Because it's always more expensive that way. So even 12-ounce bottle times 24 versus 20-ounce bottle times 10, then it's the same price. Or round.
Yeah, it's you know, the price, yeah, on the cases, like cases. So they do that. Who knows how, like, just the thing, they kind of, they do this. And then there's patterns. So they start doing out, so no one hears always got products. So where's the only gas stations and only grocery stores in a certain city, like, you guys sell 80% of it. Where is it actually being sold? So that's a good.
20-ounce bottles are obviously going to Walmart. That's how we got a lot of them for that.
Well, those are like the same size as the guy that was getting, right? It's like, I've seen them in like gas stations and everything, like this a lot of the channels.
But you also saw that Gatorade and Powerade were priced at 4 cents per ounce. I thought that was kind of smart. I mean, they can do it for 4 cents per ounce.
Yeah.
Vitamin water isn't going to have a problem with cost.
Yeah. Well, they're selling a lot of it's like you can give us and these are the numbers. These are the numbers. This is the entire price. Because under brief, it was 60% market share. Right. But it's 60%. Like, you're saying this is your entire market. Why are you making this spot? A, we're down slower than the actual market itself. The market's losing value. We're actually not doing that. We're just getting and we're keeping hands of everyone else in the market by percentage by share. And we're growing basically. So it's going to
Really?
So they're the ones losing share. Private labels are actually gaining, and Profiles are staying even to like a little bit. But it's just like, what are we doing so wrong? Because if we keep your position of power, we already have power. We can't position smart water. The question is, are we trying to reposition our power? Are we trying to just reinstate the company? We're going for 1824. The problem right now is that the debt battle that we have now is not solved. And so how do you balance? And I agree with this year, when you change something about customers, you start changing anything like a product, commercials, these things that your customers, you guys, hip hop commercials, for example, 34-year-old white males, they $70,000 to $100,000 a year. Are they really that? Probably not. And so it's the whole thing is that you're gonna start seeing it. Yeah, you might not feel anything because you might go to the store and see it. They start seeing those commercials and these things. You're gonna start losing the share of what you're actually marketing out. Some Coke Bell's gonna step up and say, oh, these people used to buy vitamin water, but they're not doing marketing. You know, you're lost in conversation with the person. It just sounded like, what are you doing here? Like, you can make money. Like this year, 3 brands, break it by that by color, they have 0% sales. Why do you keep a brand that has 0%?
Yeah, that's why. Sorry, I forgot to tell you.
Really? Who made that decision?
Like, yeah, if you go through the charts, like it's
And
it's very bad.